You saved her! Thank you so much. I don't know how I can ever repay you.
Don't touch her. Do you know who she is? The chauffeur's voice sliced through the storm, but the boy didn't stop. He stepped barefoot into the mud, his trembling hands reaching for the frightened girl trapped in the sinking ground. And in that moment, when no one else dared to move, he did something that would change both their lives forever. The storm came suddenly. Dark clouds rolled over Briarwood Estate, lightning splitting the sky like broken glass. Wind tore through the tall iron gates as the Billionaire's convoy of cars raced down the calm countryside road. Inside the last car sat Lila Remington, the only daughter of billionaire magnate Charles Remington, a girl whose legs had not worked since she was 6. Lila's world was luxury wrapped in loneliness. Her father built empires, but not relationships. Her mother lived abroad, and though the world saw her as a miracle of wealth, Lila saw herself as a burden no one had time for. That day, the car hit a sudden patch of mud near the woods. A flash flood had turned the dirt path into a trap. The tires spun. The car sank. The chauffeur stepped out, cursing under his breath. But before he could think, Lila opened the door. Rain poured in sheets. Cold mud splashed against her wheelchair as she struggled to roll herself out. The chauffeur shouted, "Miss Lila, stay in the car." But she didn't. She wanted to feel free, for once, to feel rain, to breathe air not filtered through glass and pity. Her wheels stuck deep. The chair tilted. She tried to move, but the mud clung to the wheels like hands pulling her down. Within minutes, she was trapped, the rain heavier, the ground swallowing her inch by inch. Fear began to rise in her chest. On the other side of the road, a barefoot boy carrying a sack of old cans stopped dead in his tracks. He couldn't have been older than 12. His clothes were torn, his feet cut from walking miles on rough gravel. His name was Tobias Carter, a boy from the nearby shanty neighborhood, the one the city maps didn't even label. He'd been collecting scrap metal to sell, just enough to buy food for his sister that night. But when he saw the wheelchair sinking, the choice was instant. He dropped his sack and ran. "Hey, get away from her!" The chauffeur barked as Tobias approached. The boy ignored him and stepped into the sludge. His feet sank immediately, but he kept moving, eyes locked on the terrified girl. Lila's lips trembled. "I can't move." "Please." Without a word, Tobias bent down, his small hands gripping the metal frame. He pushed with all his strength, his muscles straining, mud up to his knees. "Stop. You'll ruin her chair." The chauffeur yelled again, rushing forward, but the boy's voice, steady, calm, brave, cut through the storm. "Then she'll get a new one." "But she won't get a new life." The chauffeur froze. Tobias kept pushing. His arms burned. The rain blurred his vision. But finally, with one last heave, the wheelchair broke free. Lila gasped as the wheels found solid ground. He wiped the mud from his face, breathing hard. "You okay, ma'am?" "Yes," softly. She nodded, tears mixing with rain. Moments later, another black car arrived. Charles Remington's bodyguard stepped out, shielding him with umbrellas. The billionaire's eyes darted to his daughter, then to Tobias, the filthy boy covered in mud. "What is this?" he demanded. The chauffeur stepped forward nervously. "Sir, the boy. He tried to, but Lila interrupted. He saved me." Daddy. Charles frowned. "Saved you? Look at him. He's a child. Where's his family? Why is he on my property?" Tobias looked down, ashamed. "I was just helping, sir," the billionaire sneered. "Do you think this is charity? You think I'll pay you for touching my daughter?" Lila's eyes filled with disbelief. "Daddy, he didn't want money." But Charles wasn't listening. He turned to his guards. "Get him out of here." Before the guards could move, Lila's voice cracked through the storm. "Don't you dare!" Everyone froze. She turned to her father, her voice shaking but fierce. "You always said people should work for what they want." "Well, he didn't work for money. He worked for me. And you didn't even move an inch to help your own daughter." The silence was deafening. Even the rain seemed to pause. Charles's expression softened, confusion creeping through pride. Tobias took a cautious step back. "It's okay, miss. I can go." Lila looked at him. "What's your name?" "Tobias." She smiled faintly. "Then you're not going anywhere." Later that evening, the family doctor came to check on Lila. The mud had stained her chair, but she was fine. Charles paced in the living room, guilt twisting his chest. He replayed her words again and again. "He worked for me." A memory surfaced of his own childhood, when his father's wealth came after hardship. He'd once been like Tobias, small, poor, but driven. Somewhere along the line, he'd forgotten that. The next morning, a black SUV pulled up to the small neighborhood on the edge of town. Children stopped playing. Windows cracked open. Charles Remington stepped out wearing no suit, just a plain shirt. He walked up to the tiny wooden shack where Tobias lived. Tobias opened the door. "Shock dot, sir." Charles knelt down, the billionaire kneeling to a boy in torn shoes. "I came to say thank you," he said quietly, "and to apologize." He pulled an envelope from his coat. "This isn't charity. It's opportunity. You saved my daughter. Let me help you save your future." Tobias hesitated. "I don't need money, sir. I just want my sister to go to school." Charles smiled faintly. "Then she will." Months later, the Remington Foundation launched a new scholarship program, the Tobias Initiative, providing education for underprivileged children in the city. At the first awards ceremony, Lila sat proudly beside Tobias, both smiling in clean clothes and bright light. The billionaire stood before the cameras and said, "Sometimes greatness doesn't come from power or wealth. Sometimes it comes from muddy hands that refuse to let others sink." The crowd erupted in applause. Lila leaned over to Tobias and whispered, "You didn't just pull me out of the mud. You pulled my family out of its pride." He grinned. "Guess we both got unstuck, huh?" As the camera pans out, Tobias walks along the same dirt road, now paved and clean, the sun setting behind him. The once poor boy smiles, because kindness had done what money never could. It built a bridge between two worlds. Not all heroes wear capes or suits. Some wear torn clothes and carry nothing but courage. Tobias didn't wait for permission to do the right thing. He saw someone in danger and chose humanity over fear. Comment below, would you have stepped into the mud? Where are you watching from? Subscribe for more cinematic stories that prove the smallest act of courage can change the richest heart.